Hey Potterheads, and welcome to episode 5 of the SecretKeepers Podcast, covering Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, chapter 17. Previously on the SecretKeepers.
You're still not on about that, are you? Look, Snape helped protect the stone. He's not about to steal it.
What do you think about Hagrid's defense of Snape?
He's just giving a front.
What do you mean?
He has to know that Snape is still trouble.
Well. We are in trouble. Jared, what are your thoughts on Miss Filch?
I don't know. She seems like your typical enforcer.
Who are we talking about?
Mrs. Filch. Mr. Filch.
What's his first name, Jared?
Filch.
Filch.
Look here. See that stuff shining on the ground? Silvery stuff? That's a unicorn blood.
The cloaked figure reached the unicorn, lowered its head over the wound in the animal's side, and began to drink its blood.
What, I think Harry's gonna die? No. 10 books after this.
You never know, Harry could die.
And then come back to life?
You
Nah,
don't
that's
know.
ridiculous, Jared.
No.
They go back to their rooms, and then they decide, we gotta go get the stone ourselves. The chapter ends by saying who he sees isn't Snape, and it's not even Voldemort. So Jared, who do you think it is?
Quirrell?
This is the Secret Keepers. Let's do it! The final, penultimate episode of Book 1, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Hey everybody, I'm your host, Colin.
And I'm Taylor.
And I'm Jared, the star of the show.
And we're here to finish up the last chapter of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which you probably know already. So, last we left off with Jared turning the page and discovering the man behind the plan. At this point, we did a little bit of picking at Jared's brain after he discovered that, and we're going to jump into that right now.
All right, Jared, are you ready to turn the page?
Yeah, I am ready.
Turn the page. Hold on. Before you do,
Oh.
you're going to read the first sentence of the first chapter and then know where you're going to close your book. Okay?
I gotta close my book?
Then you got to close your book.
All right, here goes. It was Quirrell. It was Quirrell. Oh, can I keep reading?
No.
Oh, I gotta
Nope.
close the book. It was Quirrell.
Okay, thoughts.
So he's a bad guy now.
Just like that. He's a bad guy.
Yeah, he is done. Oh, I gotta let this settle in a sec.
Okay, so it's Quirrell. Quirrell is there.
Oh.
You think so? You say he's the bad guy now?
Yeah, he's bad now.
You don't think he's being mind controlled at all?
No.
Well, now that you said that, no.
Well, you had just talked about that earlier about Dumbledore being able to mind control people. So, you think Snape could mind control people, or do you
No.
think it's all Quirrell?
It's Quirrell.
No Snape?
Snape is... Oh, man. He must be down there somewhere.
What if Snape transfigured himself into Quirrell?
They never taught classes at the same time?
You think Snape is Quirrell?
No.
Oh. What if he has the ability to transfigure himself into Quirrell?
So,
How do they teach classes then?
Well, you could transform back.
Yeah, but what if I had Potions 101 and whatever 102 at the same time. You can't be the two places at one time.
He wouldn't do it all the time. I'm saying like just for this instance.
So Snape is Quirrell? What? You said Snape is Quirrell.
Oh, I'm saying, do you think Snape could transform himself to look like Quirrell?
Snape to look like Quirrell? Yeah, I like that. I think there's, no. That would be a stupid, why would Snape want to look like Quirrell? There's no reason for that. It doesn't give him any advantage.
Well, it definitely caught Harry off guard.
Yeah, okay, so 5 seconds, it was good.
What if the squad's letter or note or whatever that they told the teachers, so the teachers send someone down to stop this from happening, and then they see, oh, it's Quirrell, not Snape. So then he gets away and they take Quirrell instead of Snape.
I don't know. So Snape's been working with Quirrell for forever. Obviously, they're in on it. So that's why I think both of them are down there.
Or like Quirrell's acting as an agent for Snape.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I guess we can go to like the very front of the book, Jared, and you can where all the chapter titles are. And then I want you and then read the chapter title for 17.
Okay. The Man with Two Faces. What? Like a Lego? Like a
Yeah, I don't know. What does that make you think?
I still think Quirrell and Snape are both down there.
But who's the man with two faces?
It would have to be Snape then, I guess.
And what's his other face?
Oh, God. Well, the way you guys are leading on, it's got to be Quirrell.
So Snape.
Although I don't know why that doesn't give you any advantage.
Are you sure? Okay, well.
Maybe it's Dumbledore. Dumbledore has two faces.
Okay.
Oh, so Dumbledore isn't actually gone, but they... Because
we've never seen Quirrell and Dumbledore at the same time.
And we don't know where Dumbledore is.
Yes, we have. Yeah, we have. At the feast, the introductory feast. When Quirrell's introduced, they were together.
Maybe. Well, continue down that thought you were having there, Jared. What was your thought?
Well, if it would be Dumbledore would then... Oh, man. I don't want to say he's bad, but then he would have to be bad, and he would be in on this, so he would have wrote that he was gone, and then he'd be turned into Quirrell, and then he is down there with Snape. Or Dumbledore beat Harry down there and protecting the stone, and now has the stone somewhere else. Yeah, I like that one. So it's Dumbledore. Dumbledore pretends that he's gone, and then now he's down there. He's saved the Sorcerer's Stone, and now has moved it to a new location.
Okay.
So Dumbledore's good. So he saved the stone.
Yeah.
Okay,
I still want Dumbledore to be good. Yeah.
Okay.
So he got through all the obstacles that he had. He orchestrated getting set in place for the stone to break them to go get the stone.
Yep. Sure.
Okay. Another thing. So when we went through the different rooms and stuff, there was a point where they named out what each room was for each person, right? So like Snape's was the potions one, and Quirrell's was the troll and stuff like that. When they were at Hagrid's, Hagrid talked about, he listed all the teachers, and one of them he listed was Dumbledore. But all the rooms added up, but we never went through Dumbledore's room. This would be Dumbledore's room that he set up, right?
Sure. I'm following.
So does that play into anything?
So it could be Dumbledore with two faces.
So the final test is you have to fight Dumbledore? Because if Dumbledore's good,
Oh, I have no idea. So Quirrell's superpower or whatever was that he warded off the wizards or killed the wizard or something like that.
What?
What did he do out in wherever?
Oh, he was like fighting vampires and stuff.
Yeah. But
Yep.
Quirrell, all the stuff so far, it doesn't seem like you needed Quirrell's enchantment or whatever that Snape's been trying to get from Quirrell. So there's still something else that Quirrell needs.
Well, so it turns out that Quirrell's enchantment or whatever was the troll. Right? Defense against the dark arts, defense against the troll. At least that's what Harry and his friends come to the decision of.
So Snape couldn't defeat a troll. Harry bounced the troll on the nose and he fell over in the bathroom or something like that. Couldn't Snape have done that?
So Snape didn't know what it was. He was trying to figure out what Quirrell's thing was, so he could figure out how to get past it. So then once Quirrell snapped and finally told him, then he could get past it. But now we have Quirrell down here. Or what appears to be Quirrell. At least.
Jared, I sense that you're just really confused and you're just grasping at straws at this point.
I am.
And you have no idea.
If you guys are trying to get something out, I have no idea. I have no idea.
That's definitely true.
All right. Well, we can wrap it up then if you want.
I'm just gonna keep making up stuff otherwise.
Well, this is good. I don't. I never thought about it this much about stuff that it could be like when I was going through because I watched the movie, so I know exactly what happened before I read it. So this was good.
Yeah.
All right. Can I read the next chapter tonight?
Well, so I guess just what's your final say as to what's going on, as like a closing statement.
I have no idea.
All right, that's fair.
It's Quirrell.
It's Quirrell.
He's got two faces. Or somebody's got two faces.
And where does Voldemort fit in all this?
I don't know. He's still out there in the Forbidden Forest.
Oh, okay.
Drinking vampire unicorn blood.
All right, welcome back, everybody. How about that? Jared making all kinds of bad predictions. Now we can get on with the rest of the episode, that being covering Chapter 17, The Man with Two Faces. Jared, you know what time it is. Hit us with that 30-second summary.
Alrighty, the last chapter of the book, we discover you-know-who lives inside of Quirrell. Can you even imagine that? Nope, I can't. I still can't. Harry saves the Sorcerer's Stone, and Gryffindor wins the House Cup.
That was like
Take that.
15-second summary. That was good.
Well, we only had one chapter, but... All right. Chapter 17, The Man with Two Faces. As Jared discovered last time, it's Quirrell. Oh, that was a bad delivery. It's Quirrell.
It's Quirrell.
And Harry can't believe it. He kind of goes off, and this is kind of the point of the book where Quirrell explains how everything that Harry thought Snape was doing was actually Quirrell kind of doing it, right? So the first thing Harry says is, "But I thought Snape," and then he goes, "Severus? Ha 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 ha. Yes, Severus does seem like the type, doesn't he? So useful to have him swooping around like an overgrown bat. Next to him, who would suspect poor, stuttering Professor Quirrell?" Like, very good, very good. So Quirrell explains the many things that happened, how he tried to kill Harry. When you guys want to read that?
No. I tried to kill you. Your friend Miss Granger accidentally knocked me over as she rushed to set fire to Snape at that Quidditch match. And she broke my eye contact with you. Another few seconds and I'd have gotten you off that broom. Jared, do you remember that?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Nice.
Yep. That's when she set fire to
Quirrell.
You set fire to Snape.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
But somehow, I don't know how that happened.
She knocked him over as she was rushing.
Yeah. Did you notice that throughout as you were reading through all this, like all the little things that like happened to Harry, there was like a little passing mention of Quirrell and all those. Did that like ring in your head at all?
No.
Like,
I never can figure that out.
like the opening feast, he's like sitting down and he makes eye contact with Snape, but it says he looks past Quirrell's turban and sees Snape eye to eye, and that's where he got the feeling on his scar. Because
Nope.
no,
Because Voldy's just in the back of his head.
just munching on him. What? No. So yeah, so then Quirrell, he talks about how Snape wanted to referee the next match so that he could keep an eye and make sure it didn't happen to Harry again.
So Snape is just really likes Harry.
Yeah.
Are you sure
Not
about
really.
that?
Well, we'll get to that. Then there's, let's see, the troll. He let the troll in on Halloween. But unfortunately, while everyone else was running around to look for it, Snape, who had already suspected him, went straight to the third floor to head him off. Jared, why do you think Snape already suspected Quirrell? Why do you think he had any reason to suspect Quirrell?
Well, didn't Snape must have known something, right? Why did Snape that meeting in the woods?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's anything has ever came of that.
They bring that up in here. Let's see. Where was that? But yeah, I saw you and Snape in the forest. He said, yes, said Quirrell idly, walking around the mirror to look at the back. He was on to me by that time, trying to find out how far I'd got. He suspected me all along, tried to frighten me, as though he could, when I had Lord Voldemort on my side. So it seems like he was just trying to frighten him then. So he had already suspected him at that point as well.
Yeah, I don't know how Snape figured that out.
He's just a smart guy.
Yep. Probably some sort of seeing power potion that he
Oh, yeah.
stirred up.
Seeing power potion, what do you mean by that? Like he can read his
He can
mind?
read minds, yeah.
You think
Whoa.
Snape's good at reading minds?
Sure.
Okay,
Huh.
Sounds cool.
I suppose. So Snape reads Quirrell's mind, and he knows that Quirrell's a bad guy, so that's why he keeps an eye on him.
Sure.
So, yeah. Then Quirrell goes on to talk about how Snape headed him off and got his leg bit by the dog. So that's why Harry saw Snape, who had his leg bit by the dog, in the teacher's lounge. Then Quirrell turns his attention to the Mirror of Erised. And I don't know if you remember this, since it's been like a month since last we recorded because of the holidays. But I think when we last left off, we talked about how each of the teachers that had left a defense, we had gotten to all of theirs except for Dumbledore's. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So when you got to this, where it was like, aha, that's Dumbledore's at all, or it was just kind of like, let's just figure out what's going on?
Let's just figure out what's going on.
Okay. So he starts examining the mirror, and he cannot figure out how to get the stone. So before Quirrell goes and looks at the mirror, he like snaps his fingers, and Harry gets wrapped tightly in all kinds of robes, and he can't move. I had totally forgotten about that part.
I did too, and I honestly forgot about it again until you just said it.
Yeah, it was like,
That's some crazy magic right there.
so he didn't even say a spell.
He just went.
Do you think that was Quirrell doing that, or do you think that was like Voldemort through Quirrell doing that?
You asking me?
Either one of you. I don't know. Like, do you think Quirrell has enough power to just do magic without saying anything, or even using a wand?
He must.
Does Quirrell have any power of his own right now?
That's an interesting question.
I just kind of viewed him as
A puppet.
puppet.
Yeah.
He's like Voldemort in the flesh.
Yes. In the flesh.
Okay, I can see that. That's kind of why he talks about how Voldemort had to keep a closer eye on him. Yeah, okay. Works for me. Then, yeah, Quirrell explains that Snape tried to frighten him in the forest, like we had just talked about already. And it turns out we get to the reason why Snape hates Harry.
Oh, he does, said Quirrell. Heavens, yes. He was at Hogwarts with your father, didn't you know? They loathed each other, but he never wanted you dead.
So what about that, Jared? Snape and Harry's dad got a little bit of not competition, a little rivalry. He says, like, you and, I think Dumbledore kind of reveals, like, you and Mr. Malfoy. You have any hunches as to, like, any reasoning why they didn't like each other?
One was good at something and one wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then Harry goes to talk to him about, but I heard you a few days ago sobbing when, this is when Quirrell's in that room, and then Harry went in afterwards and there was no one in there. And that is when Quirrell reveals that ever since he failed to get the stone from Gringotts, so Quirrell's the one that broke in at Gringotts, that Lord Voldemort decided he needed to keep a closer eye on him. So, did that come as a surprise to you at all, that Quirrell's the one that broke into Gringotts, or had you put those pieces together by this point?
So time out. Voldemort wasn't with Quirrell at this point?
Correct. So it says, Quirrell said, I met him when I traveled around the world. A foolish young man I was then, full of ridiculous ideas about good and evil. Lord Voldemort showed me how wrong I was. There is no good and evil. There is only power in those too weak to seek it. Since then, I have served him faithfully, although I have let him down many times. He has been very hard on me. He does not forgive mistakes easily. When I failed to steal the stone from Gringotts, he was most displeased. He punished me and decided he would have to keep a closer watch on me.
So he wasn't in his face then. Yeah.
Right. And if you remember back when we first meet Quirrell, Harry actually shook his hand in the bar, but he didn't like burn or anything. Like
Before we got into what's that place again?
The Leaky Cauldron?
Yeah, but that brings you into Jared.
Gringotts.
Ah.
And
No.
where do you get all your wizard stuff?
The store?
Yeah.
It's a place, Jared. It's like a town. Remember? It's cleverly named.
Diagon Alley?
Yeah.
God. Why was
It's
it named
quiz
that
hour.
again?
It's quiz hour, Jared.
Well, why was it
We're
named
at the
that?
end of the book. We're gonna quiz you on what you learned this semester.
We're going to start. Everything gets tied back together, so we got to make all the connections.
Yep.
Diagon Alley.
Why was it called that again?
Why was it called that? Because J.K. wanted to call it diagonally.
Oh, there wasn't a reason behind that?
No, that's the only reason.
Diagonally, yeah.
Just like the mayor of Erised is just backwards desire. It sounds cool, but it's not really. It's like a made-up word.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyways, yeah, so that's where Quirrell kind of says he wanted to keep a closer watch on me, which, yeah, that's when Voldemort started sharing his body and kind of made him a puppet, as you called him. So Quirrell's looking at the mirror and he can't figure out how to get it. He can see the stone, but he thinks it's in the mirror, doesn't know how to get it.
Use the boy!
A voice answered, and the voice seemed to come from Quirrell himself, but it wasn't Quirrell. So he quickly rounded and said, yes, Potter, come here. He claps his hands once, and the ropes binding Harry fall off. Harry slowly walks to the mirror, thinking to himself, I must lie, I must lie, I must lie.
He lies! He lies!
So he sees his reflection staring back at him, but a moment later, he sees his reflection put his hand into his pocket and pull out a blood-red stone. His reflection then winks, puts the stone back in his pocket, and as he does, Harry feels something heavy drop into his real pocket. Quirrell asks Harry what he sees, and Jared, what does Harry say?
Better look it up.
What page are we on?
We are on 292.
Oh, he sees himself shaking hands with Dumbledore, and he's won the House Cup for Gryffindor.
Yeah. So Quirrell curses and then pushes him out of the way. And then Harry kind of falls down. He's thinking if he should make a break for it or not. And then he hears a voice that says,
He lies! He lies!
Potter, come back here, Quirrell shouted. Tell me the truth. What did you just see? The high voice spoke again.
Let me speak to him, face to face.
Master, you are not strong enough.
I have strength enough for this.
good. Yeah, so Harry becomes petrified with fear as Quirrell reaches up and unwraps his turban. Then, after he gets the turban off, Quirrell turns slowly on the spot. And
Jared, what did you think the second voice was? What did you think was going on before he unwrapped the turban and showed the obvious?
I thought that Voldemort was somewhere else, like speaking out, echoing out of the canyon or whatever they were in
the room.
The room.
Yeah, the canyon. The canyon they were in.
It was like a halls or walls or
hall.
tunnels or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess when I first read it, I thought it was like a Gollum type thing where he had two personalities, and I was quite confused.
I don't think Jared knows who Gollum is.
Jared has no clue who Gollum is. There's no way. Jared, do you know who Gollum is?
Don't hate on me.
Do you know who Gollum is?
Nope.
After the Secret Keepers, we're going to do the Fellowship Keepers. It's Lord of the Rings, Jared. We'll get there.
The Hobbit,
I've never read those either, so.
You've never read The Hobbit?
No.
I thought that was like required reading.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Too busy getting buckets with Jared.
Oh, I guess I'm just a nerd then, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, so Quirrell turns around, and it was the most terrible face Harry had ever seen. Chalk white with glaring red eyes and slits for nostrils like a snake.
Harry Potter,
Harry tried to take a step back, but his legs wouldn't move.
see what I have become. Mere shadow and vapor.
I can keep going, but I don't really think I need to.
Okay. Yeah, and then this is where we learn Voldemort only has form when he can share another's body, but they must be willing to let him in, and unicorn blood is what has strengthened him to allow him to be at this point, which Quirrell was the one that drank it in the forest. Jared, what were your thoughts on that? That it was Quirrell, not Voldemort? Or did you really
it kind of was both.
I mean, kind of, but...
Jared thought it was Voldemort, right?
Well,
Yeah.
The book kind of tells us it was Voldemort.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But he had an accomplice. Then Voldemort says, once I have the elixir of life, I will be able to create a body of my own. Now, why don't you give me that stone in your pocket? So Voldemort knew. So how do you think Voldemort knew?
Jared.
He knows everything.
How? He knew he was lying, Jared. How did he know that?
Well, he must be able to read minds.
That's crazy.
Could be. I don't know. I guess. I've kind of always wondered that he knows all this stuff. But
He just knows things. You're right.
yeah. So suddenly, the face says to Harry, better save your own life and join me, or you'll meet the same end as your parents. They died begging me for mercy. Then Harry yells,
Liar!
Harry shouted suddenly. How touching, it hissed. I always value bravery. Yes, boy, your parents were brave. I killed your father first, and he put up a courageous fight. But your mother needn't have died. She was trying to protect you. Now give me the stone, unless you want her to have died in vain.
Never!
Harry jumps up and starts running towards the flame door, but Voldemort screamed,
Seize him!
yeah. And the next second, Harry feels Quirrell's hand close on his wrist. At once, needle-sharp pain seared across Harry's scar. His head felt as though it was about to split in two. He yelled, struggling with all his might, and to his surprise, Quirrell let go of him. The pain in his head lessened. He looked around wildly to see where Quirrell had gone, and he saw him hunched in pain, looking at his fingers. They were blistering before his eyes. Jared, what do you think about that? Why did Harry's scar hurt?
I have no idea. Somehow all connected.
Okay.
Somehow all connected. Yes.
Somehow all connected. So Voldemort tells Quirrell to seize him again, and Quirrell jumps back onto him, and lands on top of him, and puts both his hands around Harry's neck. Look up a sound effect for bacon crackling in a frying. Put it right here.
Perfect.
Master, I cannot hold him. My hands! My hands! So yeah, as Quirrell's pinning Harry to the ground, his hands are just blistering, burning red and shiny.
That's some morbid stuff right there.
Yeah, this is quite a book for 11-year-olds, might I say.
Yeah, right. So Harry kills Quirrell. The end.
with his bare hands. Quirrell raises his hand to perform a deadly curse, but Harry, by instinct, reaches up and grabs Quirrell's face. Ah! He rolls off, his face blistering. And then Harry knew Quirrell couldn't touch his bare skin, not without suffering terrible pain. His only chance was to keep hold of Quirrell, keep him in pain, enough pain to stop him from doing a curse. So Harry jumps and just grabs onto Quirrell and hangs on as tight as he can. And then he hears Voldemort screaming, "Kill him! Kill him!" And then other voices Harry hears in his own head, maybe in his own head, crying, "Harry! Harry!" He felt Quirrell's arm wrench from his grasp, knew all was lost, and fell into blackness. So what did you think? What was your thoughts at this point, Jared?
He was dreaming.
The whole time?
No, I thought it was something that was going on in his mind, like that it wasn't actually happening.
You didn't have any thoughts on who the other voice was that was calling Harry's name or anything like that?
No, I didn't even remember that.
Oh. So yeah, Harry murders Quirrell. And Voldemort just, I guess, vanishes. Or whatever was left of him. So, you think Voldemort's gone for good, Jared?
No.
Yeah, Harry wakes up. And there's a snitch floating just above him. And he blinks a couple times, and he sees the smiling face of none other than Albus Dumbledore.
Good afternoon, Harry.
Sir, the stone! It was Quirrell! He's got the stone! Sir, quick!
Sir!
And Dumbledore, of course.
Calm yourself, dear boy. You are a little behind the times. Quirrell does not have the stone. Harry, please relax.
And then Harry relaxes a little bit, sees all kinds of goodies and candy by his bed. Finds out that he's been out of it for 3 days. That Ron and Hermione are a little bit worried about him, but they're relieved he came around now. And this is when Dumbledore reveals to Harry everything Harry should have known at the beginning of the book. But he leaves out a lot of stuff, of course. So it turns out that after Dumbledore left, no sooner had he reached London than it became clear to him, for whatever reason, that the place he should be was the one he just left. So he got back just in time to pull Quirrell off of Harry. So he was the voice calling out Harry's name. So he tells Harry that he feared he might have been too late, which he almost was. Harry almost died. But of course, it was all in Dumbledore's plan, so everything was fine. But it turns out that the stone has been destroyed, and that Nicholas Flamel and his wife are going to die. And then Harry looks at Dumbledore with a look of amazement, and Dumbledore smiles and says,
To one as young as you, I'm sure it seems incredible. But to Nicholas and Perennial...
How do you say her name?
Perennial...
Perennial?
Jared, how do you say your name?
I don't know.
Perenelli.
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 All right.
It is like going to bed after a very, very long day. After all, to the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. You know, the stone was not really such a wonderful thing. As much money and life as you could want. The two things most human beings would choose above all. The trouble is, humans do have a knack of choosing precisely those things that are worse for them.
But then Dumbledore says that he's going to tell Harry the truth now. Ask any question, he's going to tell him the truth unless he has a very good reason not to answer the question, in which case he won't. But he will not lie. So the first question Harry asks is, why would Voldemort want to kill him in the first place instead of his mother, just his mother and his father? And Dumbledore says he cannot answer that question. Jared, do you have any thoughts what the answer to that question would be?
No.
Okay. More on that to come.
He wanted to kill him because it would make for a really good story.
I guess. So, Dumbledore says I can't answer that question. And then Harry's next question, why couldn't Quirrell touch me? And Jared, summarize what his answer was to that in your words.
I have to read it first.
Oh,
love.
The power of love.
Power of love. Yes.
How convenient.
Yep. There's one thing Voldemort cannot understand. It is love. He didn't realize that love, as powerful as your mother's for you, leaves its own mark. Not a scar, no visible sign. To have been loved so deeply, even though the person who loved us is gone, will give us some protection forever. It is in your very skin. Since Quirrell's full of hatred and greed and ambition, he could not touch you for that very reason, because you're marked by something so good. How precious is that, right?
That's so nice.
Then Harry asked the next question. The invisibility cloak. Do you know who sent it to me? We finally get the answer for that question. Turns out
Jared was right.
Jared was right. Dumbledore, a friend of his father, gave it to him because it was his father's. So he passed it down to Harry. Then Harry asks about Snape. He asks why Snape hates him. Dumbledore says, well, they did detest each other, not unlike you and Malfoy. And then your father did something Snape could never forgive. He saved his life. What do you think about that, Jared? Why would someone be mad at you if you saved their life?
He was mad before they saved their life, right?
And after.
Yes, before and after.
Awkward pause.
Oh, I have to try and come up with something here. I don't know.
You don't have to. You can just say, I don't know.
Yeah, I said I don't know to all these questions. I don't know.
And then the last question Harry asks is, how did I get the stone out of the mirror? Jared, what's the answer?
What?
Oh,
Love.
Taylor, were you going to do the voice? Go ahead, do the voice.
No, I was gonna say it's just love. It's love.
It's just love, man. It's just love.
Jared, what's the answer?
The only person who actually wanted to find the stone could get it out of the mirror.
But Quirrell wanted to find the stone.
They couldn't use it or something like.
Those who wanted to find it but not use it would be able to get it.
Oh.
Boom, Jared.
So that kind of made me think, like, what's the point of having all these other defenses in front of the mirror if you're just going to have that be the final thing that, of course, if they're going down there to get it, they're going to want to use it, right? So why not just set the mirror, like, in the middle of the Great Hall and,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why not just destroy the stone in the first place? But I guess then Nick would die. Our good
Yeah.
friend Nick.
A good friend.
So to keep the other professors happy, pretend they have powers, but really it doesn't matter. It's just
I think yeah, Jared's point, pretend the professors have powers to help defend it.
Yeah.
Like, they got 3 11-year-olds got through it, so they didn't do a very good job. And then Ron and Hermione come in. And Harry tells them the whole thing about what happened after they came up. And Hermione tells him that as she was going up to send the letter to Dumbledore, he met them in the Owlery and came back down through and must have had time to save them. They got there just in time to save Harry. So then Ron asks, what happened to the stone? And he cannot. And then Harry tells him that it was destroyed. And he can't believe either that that Flamel is just going to die. Kind of interesting.
Ron just wants the gold.
I think he does. Comes from a poor family who wants the gold. Let's see. There was a quote in here from Dumbledore, I think, that I missed. That was
Dumbledore
pretty
had some great quotes.
cool. Yeah.
He had some flexes when he talked about the mirror thing.
Ah, yes, it was quite the strike of brilliance for even me.
And my
Brain surprises even me sometimes.
Anyways, back to where we were, talking with Ron and Hermione. So, yeah, they get back together. They tell everybody that everyone's okay, that what happened with everything, that the cloak is Harry's father's, and then Madame Pomfrey comes in, kicks him out. After a good night's sleep, Harry goes down to the feast, end of year feast. And Harry passes Hagrid, who's all downtrodden with himself because he kind of gave away, like, everything in this book. But Harry says, Hagrid, he'd have found out somehow. This is Voldemort we're talking about. He'd have found out even if you hadn't told him. So eventually Hagrid gets over it. But they walk into the Great Hall, and Slytherin has won. So it's all decorated like Slytherin. Dumbledore starts calling out who the House Cup points. Gryffindor 4th place, Hufflepuff 3rd place, Ravenclaw 2nd place, and Slytherin 1st place. But then he says,
Yes, yes. Well done, Slytherin. However, recent events must be taken into account. I have a few last-minute points to dish out. Let me see.
Does a Steve Harvey thing and says, "Congrats, Slytherin." Nope. Actually, Gryffindor wins.
Did you know Steve Harvey did that again?
Yeah, I heard that.
He did it twice. Yeah, so he gives 50 points to Ron for the best played game of chess Hogwarts has seen in many years. He gives 50 points to Hermione for cool use of logic in the face of fire. Then he gives 60 points to Harry for, well, defeating Voldemort, but for pure nerve and outstanding courage. So Gryffindor is now tied with Slytherin, and then, of course, he gives Neville 10 points for the courage to stand up to their friends. Then everyone goes nuts because Gryffindor got gifted the House Cup by the dumbest events that ever happened. Like, why didn't he just go, I give Harry 320 points?
Yeah. He had to make it dramatic. You know?
Has to make it dramatic. So you get, so let me get this straight. You get 50 points for playing a good game of chess.
And getting knocked upside the head.
Okay. You get 50 points for doing good use of spells in the face of fire. And you only get 60 points for murdering Quirrell and Voldemort. Seems like that would be enough in itself to kind of do the whole job.
Yeah.
So then it's the end of the year. Harry gets his exam grades back. Everybody passed. They go to Hogwarts Express. They get on. They all say goodbye to everybody. They pull into their Muggle towns. And
Ginny's just going nuts over Harry.
Who is?
Ginny.
Oh, yeah. And then we see Uncle Vernon again. How great. He gets to go back to them. But, and this is how the chapter ends, they say, Hermione says, hope you have a good holiday. And Harry says, oh, I will. They don't know we're not allowed to use magic at home. I'm going to have a lot of fun with Dudley this summer. The end.
You did it, Jared.
You read
One down.
Read a full book in 3 months.
Hey, that's not my fault. That's partly
No,
your
that's
fault.
not your fault. That's very true. It's for all these listeners that are probably listening right now.
All 2 of them.
Yeah, for you. So, yeah, any thoughts about this book, about this, where the story is going, about anything? What's going on inside Jared's brain right now?
Well, it definitely got better from the first few weeks till now.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm ready for the second book.
What's the second book?
I have no idea.
Here, I'm going to give him the book, and then he's just going to look at the cover. He's going to tell us what he thinks what's going to be in the next book. He doesn't have to tell us.
I don't look at covers.
Well, you're going to look at this one.
We call this the judging the book by its cover session.
Yeah, judge the book by its cover section. Oh, wait for it. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Judge the book by the cover. Dun, dun. Welcome to Judge the Book by the Cover. We're here with our star of the show, Jared Minderhout, to judge the book by the cover. What is the second book called again? Oh, yeah, The Chamber of Secrets. Now, looking at the cover, this is the paperback cover. I don't know if they're different. Jared, what do you think is going to happen in this book?
It kind of well, there's a dragon or something on the top. I think it's a dragon.
Okay.
Jared, oh, never mind.
Just describe the cover first.
Okay, so Harry is holding a large bird by the tail.
Okay.
It looks kind of like a red flamingo. But it has big old claws. It's not breathing fire, so I don't know if it's a dragon or anything. There's a chamber, like a brick chamber on the front with a passageway. That's about it. Oh, there's some snakes in here.
Just a few snakes.
Yep, 2 snakes. Yeah, 2 snakes, a red flamingo, Harry Potter, and a brick wall with a door opening.
Harry's got a cape on.
Yes, and a sword.
Huh. Knight Harry.
And he has a lightning bolt on his forehead. There's also some weird green thingy on the bottom here that looks like... maybe it's moss.
It looks like a snake, Jared.
No, it's not a snake. Nope.
Where? What?
On the bottom, right in... and then there's this like tree or... oh no, there's snakes on it. More snakes. There's snakes everywhere in this thing. So there's a
All
snake.
right. So what does it all mean?
Maybe Voldemort takes the shape of a snake.
Huh.
Whoa! What a bold prediction.
And the Chamber of Secrets, it's got to be like Gringotts or something like that.
Oh.
And the red flamingo is I don't have anything for you there yet.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode of Judging the Book by the Cover. Is that the name? I don't remember what the name is.
Something like that. Thanks, John Madden.
John Madden.
You did the NFL intro.
Oh, okay.
I got you there. That was good.
All right. Well, that's all we got. We can wrap it up then.
Yeah. Excited for the next book, Jared. You can start reading tonight.
Yeah, Jared, what's your excitement level? 1 to 10. Going into it, what was it?
0.
About 0.5.
All right, what is it now?
Probably a 7.
Wow. Wow.
We ramped it up.
Ah, all right. Well,
Good stuff. Do we
I
have
guess.
any other predictions that Jared made that we need to tell him he was wrong on or anything? I think we got most of them.
yeah, I think the big one the whole time was that it wasn't Snape.
Yeah, I was ticked when you first said Quirrell.
Yeah.
It could be Quirrell.
That made me so
I was like,
mad.
come on, you.
I said that?
That
Yeah.
was the first thing you said. I was like, who do you think it could be? Because it said it wasn't Snape and it wasn't Voldemort. And then you said, it could be Quirrell. And I was like, he turned the page. He had to have turned the page. I was so mad.
No, I had no idea. I guess there wasn't any other characters that it could have really been.
Yeah.
I'm
nice.
thinking back at it now. I mean, it's a book for 11-year-olds and you figured it out. Good job.
Well, he kind of figured it out.
Kind of figured it out.
My reading comprehension is probably below 11-year-old.
Well, we'll get there. All right. Well, anything else, Taylor?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, once again, thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoy the show, don't forget to rate and review us if you haven't already. Also, you can check us out on Facebook and Twitter at KeepersPod. And, of course, if you want to take the next step in supporting the show, go check us out at patreon.com/SecretKeepersPod. So that's all for now. So until next time, we solemnly swear we'll be up to no good.
I'll still be up to good. No worries.
Jared, we know you will be.